and welcome to the Sacred Priestess podcast, where I help beautiful awakening women activate their sacred feminine power so that they can find clarity, connection, and confidence in their spiritual healing journey. I'm Hayley. It is lovely to have you here, wherever you are joining from in the world today, whatever you are up to. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining. I would love for you, if you enjoy this episode, to press follow and join me every week. If you are returning, your energy, your presence, your faith and trust is greatly appreciated as we move into today's episode, which is all about the biggest block to your intuition that you probably don't even notice. You wouldn't even know that it's there. And we're going to get to that really soon. But I want to share a story with you first of how and why this episode came about. I absolutely love my mystery school community, the women who are in my private Facebook group, the women who turn up to the free circles that I host every month, the beautiful women who join me in the Sacred Priestess initiation, who have been through this course with me. And I love the conversations that I get to have with awakening women, with women who are, embarking on their spiritual healing, stepping into the learnings and the teachings of the mystery school, of the sacred rose teachings as we move in step with the likes of Mary Magdalene and Aphrodite and Mother Mary. It's beautiful to share their stories, to share their journeys with them, and for us to work together as they move through this. And as we align with our inner knowing and we step into the truth of who we are, we step into our spirituality and the devotion to that, there's a lot of discombobulation that happens, because as we start stepping into this work and we start releasing the traumas, releasing the emotional frequencies that no longer align with us, releasing past life karma drama and all of these things, we do feel really out of whack. And this is where we really start wondering where our purpose is, why we're here, how we're here to serve. And, obviously that brings up a lot of questions and a lot of answers we want to get from our intuition, from our higher self, from our beautiful guides and angels that are supporting us on this journey. Because like I said, we're looking for that purpose and we're looking for balance. We're looking for how we can do this work, how we can strip all of this stuff back and awaken into a greater sense of being. But we also need to learn to balance, to hold that with how we're here to serve, our purpose, but also from a lot of us as well, how we hold that with a family, with raising children, with toddlers, with babies, with teenagers, with a partner, family dynamics, all of those kind of things. So, we really step into a place where, as we're trying to unravel all of these things, or all of these things are unraveling for us, how do we hold that and hold life at the same time? And this is where our intuition comes in. This is what it's for. It's our internal compass. And it's where it becomes really important for us to connect to it, to understand it, to know how it comes in for us, but also to trust it. And to, we don't want to feel disconnected in that, because, we want it to help us on our way. So this week within the community, I had just the most beautiful chat with one of the women who has been going through the Sacred Priestess initiation. And, she's not just a community member. I've known her for a little while now. And I consider her to be a friend. And I am sharing this with her permission. We did have a little talk, and beautiful woman that she is, she said, if it's going to help somebody else on their journey and give them some clarity and them some validation, then she's happy to share sort of what we talked about and what came through for her. So her story is something that I hear from a lot of women. It's something that I talk about with the community all the time. So many people have this, and like so many of you, she had questions around her purpose and, the working 9 to 5 and how it doesn't feel right. And she also has a young family. And so she's navigating that and all of the things, like I just said, like many of us. And she's really looking for that guidance from her guides, from her spirit team, from her own intuition, her own deep inner knowing, and her own wisdom. And we were talking about it, and within this situation, she was like, I just know there's more for me here, not just in what she's got to bring forward to the world, but in just the way of life. That life shouldn't be this wake up, go to work, blah, 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 that there should be more fulfillment and excitement, fulfillment and excitement and adventure mixed into all of that, as well. And it's really frustrating. And I know it's really frustrating when you're looking for answers and you feel like you can't connect to anything. And I know so many other women get to that space when you want to connect with your intuition, but you just don't feel like anything's coming through. And that's how she'd been feeling. She was like just frustrated, and it was getting her really annoyed because of that feeling of disconnection. So I just, in this moment when we were having this little chat over the Zooms, I asked her to just stop and take a breath and stick her hand on her heart and just really tune in and ask, what do I do next? And the answer that came through was the beach. And she actually, and I'm paraphrasing, but what kind of she said when I said what came through to you, she said, oh, nothing, it's silly, I just got the beach. And now, of course, in that moment, that message of the beach did not make logical sense to her. And this is what she said, and this is the thing that sort of came out, is that she was asking about purpose. She was asking about how to move forward to create a life that she wants to live, create a life that she, feels fulfilled in and balanced in. And so when the beach came through, it was like, well, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't have anything to do with anything. And so in this moment, when a message comes through and it doesn't make logical sense to our intellect, we disconnect it. We dismiss it. We don't trust it. We just go, that doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. Yeah, thanks for your help, guys. You know what I mean? That's not how she spoke, but I've been there, so I know. That's how I speak, and that's what used to come through to me. So yeah, in this moment, we just become really disconnected because, like I said, we're trying to intellectually connect the dots between life fulfillment and purpose and what do I, what's my next move into going to the beach or being at the beach or just the beach, whatever that message was. So in mystery school teachings, in the teachings of the rose, this rose lineage that just flows down from the ancient lands of Mu and Lemuria, is all about that sacred heart rose geometry. It's about unfolding. It's about sacred divine feminine flow and connection. And when we're tuning into our heart and trusting in our heart, 9 times out of 10, it is not going to make logical human sense, right? And so once this message came through, she was like, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. It's irrelevant. And I said, what did you get? She said, the beach. And I asked her then, how do you feel when you go to the beach? And she loves water. When we did one of the first classes in the initiation where we connect back to Mu Lemuria, there's a lot of water codes there. We do a lot with water, and she loves water. And she's like, it was so like being in water, and even just the meditation that we did with the Lemurian waters, like, was so activating for her. And when she is at the beach, when she's near water, when she's in nature, she feels calm, relaxed, connected to the earth, connected to herself, She loves all of that. And when we step into that, it's not about the beach. It's about the frequency that the beach brings, activates, and reconnects you to, right? It's a frequency of clarity and of peace. And like I said, of connectedness. The beach is about, it's nature. It's the waters. It's the flow in and out of the waves, giving you that surrender, that in and out, that breath, that rhythm of giving and receiving, things flowing in and out. Receivership and letting things go. So there are so many frequencies within this, and nature is really closely related to womb wisdom, to the sacral chakra, the womb space, because nature and this space they interact on a second dimensional frequency. So when you're in nature, your womb space is activating, it's opening, it's releasing, it's receiving, all of these things. So even though your brain can't maybe connect the fact that, I'm asking about my purpose or what to do with my life and what to do next, and I go to the beach. What does that bring for you? What does that bring to your energy? What does it open you up to receiving? And even just the quietude, just relaxing and being with your breath, with nobody else in your energy or your frequency, just you, the beach, the water, the air, the sun. Like I said, the flow of the waves, and just noticing and being present in that space. So when we're getting these messages, it's not always about what makes logical sense with the question that you've asked. It's about just really trusting what comes through and doing that thing regardless of whether your brain can make sense of it or not. So what are the things to take away from this? Like, what are the tangible things? And, I want to thank, who you are if you're listening. Thank you so much for allowing me to share your story, because I just find it really important. And I think a lot of people make this mistake within their intuition. So we just want to make sure that we are trusting the message. Don't try to make it logical. Don't try to connect the dots between this and that, And if you're not sure, let's say, just like this beautiful woman, if you ask a question about something like your purpose and the answer you get is the beach, instead of just disregarding and going, that doesn't make sense, ask why. Why is it important for me to go to the beach at this time? Why is it important for me to connect with this area, with this space? Maybe you're asking, and this has happened to me before when I've been asking something to do with work. And, I think it was something like doing a podcast episode. Like, I wasn't sure what podcast episode to do next. And usually it comes through intuitively. And I'm like, I don't know what to do, I'm not getting anything. Like, what do I do? And I got the answer, drink water. Like, what has that got to do with a podcast episode? And so I asked, well, why? They're like, because you're totally dehydrated, and water within the body is all about flow. Like, the water in the body is so important for so many different reasons. And it's important for intuition. It's important for those frequencies to be moving in and out of your body. And so I made sure that day, even though it didn't make any logical sense, that I upped my water and made sure that I had my 2 and a bit liters or whatever it is that I have. So it's not always going to make sense, but it is important that you follow it. And it is important, not important, but, if you are getting that in and you don't understand it, ask why. Why is that connected? Why is it that I need to be doing that? Be like a little kid. Little kids like, why? 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 That's what you need to be like, right? You need to be asking all those questions. Your channel is open. You're getting through messages, so keep asking the questions. So that's the first thing, is just really trusting that messages, and don't try to logically connect the dots. Ask why. The next is, you've got to take action. If you want to accelerate your intuition, start following it. Follow it every second of every day and don't look back. That's how you are going to really start connecting and opening up more and getting stronger messages, clearer messages, by actually taking the action. Don't worry about your third eye meditations and, all of these things. Just follow what you're getting told to do, or what you're being led to do, what your higher self is guiding you to do. I'm telling you now, it will make the hugest difference. So whatever comes through, take the action on it. Do it with intention, do it with presence, and open to receivership. So taking this this woman's, scenario. So when she went to the beach, she sat there with intention. She went there to get peace, get clarity, to breathe, to be out in open space. She set the intention to receive, to be open, right? And she was there with presence, watching the waves, feeling the wind, feeling the sun, right? Feeling the sand in the toes. So we take the action and we do it with intention, we do it with presence, And we do it with this purpose of being open to more receivership within our space. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to add here. So before we're going to get to the biggest block in a second. I think another really big thing with intuition is that when you're beginning, when you're starting out, or when you've kind of been just dabbling in it for a really long time, you don't have the evidence yet that you're continuously right. A, because you're not following it when you're asked to, but two, because you haven't followed it. Well, yeah, and because you haven't followed it enough that you don't have the evidence that that you're right. And so along in this conversation, we were talking about, what comes through. And I said to her, what do you think comes through when I channel and when I follow my intuition, when I turn up in class and channel meditations? I said to her, I guarantee you it's no different than what turns up for you. It's a feeling that you get in your stomach, in your heart. It's images that flow through your mind. It's, emotions that come to the surface. The only difference between, and if this is you out there, I'm telling you now, the only difference between you who's starting out or has been on their journey, who's not trusting it, and me is that I have more evidence because I've been trusting mine and acting on it and getting the validation for longer. And so because I have more validation, I have more evidence that what comes through to me is true. And if I follow it, that the right things happen, or that if I channel it for somebody else, that the validation's there, that I'm right and I'm spot on and they thank me so much because it's totally, right? That's the only difference. I have 20 years of validation. You have 2 months. Right? Or a few instances that you've done it. So the more that you do it, and exactly the two things that we've just talked about, the more that you just trust the message, take action on the message, and then get either the validation or the outcome from following that message, you are going to gather the evidence to help you to really trust yourself more, to trust what's coming through, to trust what you're connecting to. And so, just be aware of that and stop comparing yourself and having these big expectations. I know that there are people out there who go really deep into meditation or really deep into connection, and there are people who see beings on the outside as, orbs and things like that. But we all get our messages in our own way. And I am telling you now, mine are, they're clear, but they're clear because I trust them. They're clear because I don't question it. And although having said that, sometimes I do question it, and sometimes I go, oh, can that be right? But I just have learned to just let that go, let it move out and keep moving forward. And so, I don't say don't because that's a bit rude, but just watch your expectations and watch your comparisonitis. Because I think sometimes when we look at people who are sort of mentors, coaches in the spiritual space, I think we just assume that everything they see is just covered in orbs and light and, these big, profound, angelic moments. And it's not always like that. For a lot of us, our intuition is a little more subtle. It's, and it starts off more subtle and just grows and grows and grows as you continue. So, you don't have much evidence yet. So just trust yourself and just watch your expectations of what you think you're supposed to be feeling and seeing and what you think is supposed to be coming through and you think what the answer is. And just be aware of your comparisonitis, okay? Because you're an amazing intuitive being. Amazing intuitive being. It's just learning to know the way you receive and then keep trusting and following that as often as you can. And I'm sorry, I've talked about this before, so I'll only be quick, but I'm talking in every single little thing that you do in your day. This morning, I'm not super hungry this morning, and I was like, oh, I need to eat something. Body, what do you want? And it showed me a handful of walnuts and a banana. So that's what I've eaten. That's it. That's me following my intuition. It's following my body's cues, following what's coming through to me. I didn't go, oh, no, that's not really a proper breakfast. Maybe I should have an egg and some avo and blah, 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 blah. No, I didn't do that. I got shown a handful of walnuts and a banana, so that's what I ate. So it's those little things like that. I even do it to come and do these videos. What am I going to wear? What jumper am I going to put on today? What shirt am I going to put on to sit and do this video? I don't just grab any old thing off the floor or whatever. So it's using it every single day. So the biggest block to your intuition, I think, is actually believing that you have a block when you don't. You don't have a block. Your intuition comes through. You just don't trust it. That's not a block. That's not an intuitive block. Your intuition's pouring through you constantly. So stop saying that you've got an intuitive block, because you don't, right? That's the biggest thing. You sit there, your intuition comes through, you feel things, you see things, you flip a card and you're like, yep, I know what that means. But you don't trust it, and so you go, oh, it's blocked. It's not blocked. You just got your intuition through. You just got the message. You're just making your brain think that it's something that it's not. And I know that's not everyone wants to hear. Everyone wants to hear that there's some big traumatic past life thing that's stopping them from being intuitive right now. And believe me, that happens in terms of moving forward. But I guarantee you that if you're listening to this now, you have used your intuition so many times in so many different places. You've gotten intuitive hits that you've then gone, oh, I knew that I shouldn't have done that, or I knew I should have done that, or I knew I shouldn't have said that, or I knew I should have turned here or there. Like, you know it. You just say you've got a block because it doesn't make sense. And yes, we still want to be working on, getting rid of karma drama, right? Because I think it's the karma drama that really stops us from stepping into the work we're supposed to be stepping into with this in this space. And not feeling safe to, it's more, I think, around saying it out loud and speaking to other people about it. And I mean, I've got a course with Goddess Isis, a 4-week course where we work with her and go through journeys of activating priestess codes, releasing past life karma drama around witch wounding and things like that. So I'm not saying that it's not important to look at, but in terms of you actually having intuition, that's there. These past life blocks and contracts and agreements and vows that we've made around it are more about us speaking up, about us using it in the public domain. And when I say public domain, I'm not saying you have to, make a podcast or create a course and teach people. I'm talking about even just within talking about it in front of your parents or your family or your partner. Or I find that that's more what the past life stuff is around. It's not that you don't have the intuition and it's not coming through. You're just afraid to use it in a bigger way. So yes, in saying that, I'm not saying that those things aren't important. I just think when it comes to your actual intuition, your block is believing that you're blocked when you're not. Anywho, thank you so much for being here today. I hope that this beautiful story from this gorgeous community member has helped you, and that, what we talked about today has just opened you up a little bit to maybe the next time your intuition drops in, to not question it so much and just trust it, follow it, and just remember that the more that you do that, the more evidence you have, the more you'll trust yourself, and so the circle continues. So if you would like to join me anywhere in any of the communities, I will pop all the links below. I will pop the link below to the Facebook group. I will pop the link below to the wait list for the next round of the Sacred Priestess Initiation. And also soon this month will be coming, or the start of next month will be a free circle with Goddess Isis. So keep your eyes out for that. And if you're interested in the priestess codes and working with Goddess Isis for 4 weeks, this beautiful 4-week journey to open up your intuition with her, just keep an eye out for that too, because that will be coming out soon. the next round of that. So have an amazing week, you guys, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.